Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is our Mucking Fonday. That's right, new week, new us, and new rounds of news. Yeah, I know the weekend was very eventful. I don't know if we're going to talk about all of that stuff. Okay. Thank you for the support.
Enough horns.
You know, you're worse than chat sometimes.
I am worse.
Anyways, I don't know if we're going to talk about everything that happened over the weekend. We don't usually talk about every single thing, you know, especially the big news. You've heard enough. You're going to try to find that stuff you're not hearing about. So welcome to Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our stories 15 minutes before we start. We haven't had any caffeine, just woken up, and boy, is it hot out there this summer. Get ready for a hot planet with these headlines. Today on Mucking Fonday, the Louvre closes. Paris's iconic museum closes unexpectedly with thousands of tourists left waiting in queues outside. And Scotland could send 100 truckloads of rubbish a day to England after a landfill ban.
And greetings from the United States. This is Roger from the United States, where we're going to talk about the millions turned out Saturday. Millions turned out Saturday nationwide for the No Kings protest as the Trump military parade failed miserably.
Thousands attend Red Line protest in The Hague against Israel's Gaza war. And global march to Gaza is a moral reckoning.
And updating our story from a couple of weeks ago, strident PM declares Thailand will defend its sovereignty.
Why is everyone so angry about Sabrina Carpenter's new album cover? Because they're a bunch of purists.
And it's National Fudge Day, so get the fudge out there and have some fun. It's June 16th, 2025 on Before Coffee.
Everyone's favorite curse word, fudge. Don't want to get in trouble with your parents as 30-plus-year-olds over here.
As Ralphie did in Christmas Story, right?
I
didn't say fudge.
Put soap in your mouth. I learned that some kids who grew up in cilantro households who had the gene where cilantro tastes like soap just love the taste of soap, right? They just had to learn to love the taste of cilantro, and now they're like, when they saw that movie, it's like, why is it bad that there's putting soap in the mouth? I love the flavor of soap because they've been eating cilantro there. That's pretty funny. Okay, let's roll our first segue for this story, my two stories that I have coming up.
Oh boy. And paper.
Let's hope it doesn't roll the same thing 5 times in a row. That's my part 2.
We know it's
not starting you off with this limerick just yet.
All right. Well,
how many fingers am I holding up? It should be 7. You can't
17.
see. You can't see me. My camera's not on.
17. Was I close?
17. How do I hold up 17 fingers?
It was a wild guess. Come on, man. I don't know.
Okay, let's go to our first story. On the Louvre closing. This is from The Independent. Louvre Museum in Paris was unable to open its door today on Monday, the 16th of June, leaving thousands of visitors waiting outside as staff protested working conditions. That's right. Give those staff working rights. Union Representative Sarah Siphon of the CGT Culture said the disruption was due to a spontaneous movement among front of the house staff, the gallery attendants, reception, and security workers. They are protesting what they say is deteriorating labor conditions. It's a movement led by the reception agent who are suffering from working conditions at the Louvre, Ms. Siphon said. She added that what began as a scheduled monthly information session turned into a mass expression of exasperation, and that staff decided to stay together until management arrived. Ms. Siphon said agents gathered in the auditorium at 10:30 a.m. for talks with the museum's leadership. All roles related to visitor reception are affected. Overcrowding and understaffing are the main issues raised. As of midday, the museum remained closed, lines snaking past I.M. Pei's famous glass pyramid and deep into the underground shopping complex. Some ticket holders gave up and left, creating the illusion of the movement in queues. A message of the museum's official website stated, "Due to strikes in France, the museum may open later and some exhibitions may remain closed. We thank you for your understanding." Union officials said the museum may reopen in the afternoon, which, I mean, it is the afternoon. It might have. The Louvre is one of Europe's most popular tourist destinations and the most visited museum in the world. Probably because they have all those paintings in there that don't even belong in France, right? Like, if you want to see Starry Night, it's in the Louvre, right? It's not in the Netherlands. It's not in... I mean, to be fair, he was in Paris painting. So.
He did live in Paris.
He's a Dutch artist. That's all I'm saying, right? If they could, they would have all of the famous art at the Louvre. All of it, right? Night Watch. I can't think of anything else. But Night Watch is in the Netherlands. That is in the National Museum here. They probably would take it, too. France is almost as... the Louvre is almost like the British Museum and how many things. It's just like, I want everyone to come here. It welcomed 8.7 million people in 2024. More than 3/4, or 77%, were just from outside of France. In January, Louvre President Laurent Descartes warned that French Culture Minister Rachida Dati and the centuries-old building is in dire state. Well, if they have so many people visiting, where's the money going? Right? That's the question. Do they need to increase ticket prices? Or is somebody funneling all the money to their new yacht they're building, right? The owner of the Louvre, right? He's just like, yeah, look at all this money. I'm going to buy a 15th yacht. And meanwhile, you know, paintings are falling off the walls, I guess, and staff are overworked. Visit to the museum had become an ordeal, he said, with the lack of space for visitors to take a break and insufficient food and sanitary facilities. He has imposed a limit of 30,000 visitors per day in order to avoid overcrowding. So this, what it looks like, what it sounds like from this article, they're blaming people from coming to visit. I guess to see the Mona Lisa, for example. Right? It's your fault, you guys, for coming here. And maybe also Paris won't give them any leeway to build more facilities, right? Whoever, the mayor or whatever, is like, nah, you're not allowed to build another room for people to hang out in. I guess that's the problem. They kind of want people to not dilly-dally in a museum, but the whole point of a museum is to dilly-dally. Look at things and walk around and spend your whole day in there. And you probably pay a lot. I don't know how much a Louvre ticket is, but probably people who are paying a lot of money just to go there, right? Plane tickets and all that. Hotels just to go there every day for the whole time. They love culture, and they can't get in because, sorry, we hit our 30,000 limit for today. We're not selling any more tickets. Got a haiku for that?
Yeah, I got one that's a bad pun, also. The Louvre displays art. Art, a man, works at the Louvre. We art to pay art. We art to pay art. I mean,
give Art his time off. Our next story is about
bastardizing the word ought.
Yeah.
We art. Some people in the United States say that. We art.
That's true. You know, you can get away with anything if you have the right accent.
Yeah.
Our next article is from Scotland, by Holly Evans on The Independent, as truckloads of rubbish a day could be filling up England's landfills. A landfill ban in Scotland could see up to 100 truckloads of waste being moved. The lack of incinerators being available. And too much trash in Scotland. At the end of the year, the Scottish government will enforce a ban on black bag waste from being buried in landfill sites, but not enough energy from waste sites will be ready by the 30th deadline. So they have this whole rest of the year to get it ready. Zero Waste Scotland has predicted the capacity gap to be around 600,000 tons, with some councils approaching rubbish handling operators in England. The ban was originally due to be enforced in 2021 before being delayed due to the COVID pandemic. But environmental consultants have concluded that hundreds of tons of rubbish still have nowhere to go despite the delay. I don't know why they delayed it. They should have done it then. I think they should have done it while everyone was stuck at home. But the rubbish would have been way too much. Perfect. Just start at the highest limit of what you think you're going to reach, and then if it's less than that, you just went out, in my opinion. But whatever. They delayed it, and now they're taking the punishment for that. David Ballmer, a waste expert from ERS Remediation, told the BBC, You're looking at the equivalent of between 80 to 100 trucks minimum running 7 days a week. Take that material to a facility in England abroad. The Scottish government are hoping to increase recycling rates and use more energy from waste incinerators, with the ban hoping to reduce the amount of rubbish that needs to be incinerated. Non-recyclable items such as wood, textiles, paper, and food will be banned from landfills as it breaks down to produce methane in around 28 times more potent than carbon dioxide. We've talked about that plenty of times on this show, right? Farms may not make as much gas but the methane is stronger and stays around longer in the atmosphere. However, the short-term impact is likely that emissions will increase, given that a large fleet of vehicles will have to transport the waste to site as far away as Manchester. Alasdair Meldrum, director of waste management consultant Albion Environmental, also told the BBC they're probably not got the trucks and the vehicles to actually move it. We've got the environmental impact of all the transport. It's nonsensical. But the people who have invested in the incinerators are saying we've invested all this money because of the ban. But we're stuck in an all really hard place. In Scotland, there are currently 8 operational incinerators, with additional ones currently being built. While they are still responsible for greenhouse gases, they are a third less damaging than the release of methane from landfill sites. The Scottish government said any export waste should only ever be viewed as a short-term solution. It adds that the vast majority of councils had alternative measures in place ahead of the landfill ban coming in force, but they will work closely with local authorities and sector bodies to monitor and review any related by the data that approaches. So get ready for a lot of trash in Scotland, or I guess not a lot of trash because they're going to export it to Manchester.
Manchester.
And hopefully they can figure this out before December comes, because that's kind of when they're like, this is it, guys. We're doing it. The ban is in. Also, someone has told me it's 20 euros for general admission to the. Oh, honestly, that's not that bad, but probably not enough.
$25
right? If they would you pay 50 euros to go to the Louvre for a whole day? Most people aren't even using it for a whole day. Some people go there for 2 days and then they don't come out.
I probably would. We were in Paris and we didn't go, so I don't know, right?
Yeah. Ready for your haiku?
Is it haiku time? Great Scott, a landfill full of old kilts and bagpipes. Jacobites rejoice. Jacobites rejoice.
For Scotland. No more
that's
trash.
Right. And every time they try to push the landfill mess, it makes those sickening bagpipe noises. Like, not the good ones, like like a dying bagpipe, right? Full of
many bagpipes.
And the bagpipes are full of methane. They're full of methane now because it's
oh right. Oh god, it smell awful.
They're like coughing like a cow with cancer or something, right?
All right, let's roll our next segue for our next segment. We've got. Can't wait for it to tell me what I've got. I saw what it said. Sarcasm. Okay, I have to reply to your next story with.
All right.
The optimal amount of sarcasm.
Sarcasm is my second language. All right, so we're going to talk about. I don't need glasses for this. We're going to talk about the weekend. All right. Let's talk about Trump's. Let's talk about the protests first. Millions turned out nationwide for No Kings protests against Trump administration. This is from John Yang at PBS.com. Protesters held a rally across the country opposing Trump's agenda on the day of the president's military parade. They cap a week of demonstrations against immigration raids that began in Los Angeles and spread nationwide. Saturday's No Kings protests were organized by coalition of groups. John Yang speaks with Lisa Gilbert, the co-president of One Them Public Citizen. There have been rallies across the country opposing President Stinky the Clown's agenda on the day of the president's military parade. They cap a week of demonstrations, immigration raids that began in Los Angeles, spread nationwide. Beginning in Los Angeles, they began everywhere. Anyway, today's events in about 2,000 cities and towns, probably more than that, which calls for demonstrations actions authoritarian, which they are. In Boston, where it's raining, in Atlanta, with Proud Boys counter-protesters looking on in Philadelphia, the flagship Notes Kings rally, local officials urge protesters to demonstrate peacefully and avoid blocking roads. The No Kings protests are organized by a coalition of groups. Lisa Gilbert is co-president of them, Public Citizen, a progressive advocacy group. Lisa, what have you been hearing from across the country? Crowd turnout, that sort of thing. Lisa replies, it's been amazing. We've seen, as you mentioned, 2,000 plus events, millions of people turning out peacefully to say in America, we don't have a king in American democracy. It's been amazing and inspiring, frankly. So no reports of any problems, no violence, counter-protesters. Very limited counter-protesting, absolutely no violence. But that's not true. There was somebody shot in Utah. We've been very clear with folks, and somebody drove into a crowd in Virginia. So
there's been a lot of violence from anti-protesters. Yeah.
We're watching them crack down on free speech, detaining people. There was no King's event scheduled for Washington. Why was that, Lisa? That's right. Well, as you know, in Washington, the president simultaneously holding his bombastic birthday military parade. What made clear we're not protesting the military. We're instead protesting the administration's authoritarian actions. We didn't want to stand in front of a military parade, but instead have split screen showing what president's wasting taxpayers' dollars on here in America, and what everyone everywhere else in this country is calling for an America they can believe in, a democracy they trust. In the pictures we've seen from rallies across the country, we hear a variety of messages, see a variety of signs. Is there one specific message or objective today? Asked John. Lisa replies, I think the main message is this: they've gone too far. You know, America is predicated on the idea that we all have a choice, we all have a say. We've been watching attacks on universities or nonprofits or judges. You know, this is not the America we know. I think people are truly fed up and wanted to gather to say that in America, we do not have a king. We're going to cut that short, and we're going to go to our second story. Do you have a haiku or sarcasm?
Sarcasm?
Okay.
You just ended the story so quick. Hello?
Okay, I'll keep going. I can keep going. There's more to it. John Yang asks another question. Well, this goes on for a while. This follows the hands-off protests in April, the May Day protests. Are there more plans? What's next for this coalition? It's a great question. Yes, I've been in a crescendo of action. I think more and more people each time we organize turn out and show their discomfort with what is happening in our country. Looking ahead, we'll see organizing on Juneteenth, which is 3 days from now.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, we'll see organizing. Yeah, we'll see organizing on later on this summer, around Labor Day. We'll expect to organize wherever needed in a rapid response manner as well. Well, Juneteenth is, isn't it? We'll see. It's on a Friday. I guess I can pull that off. Is it a Friday? No. It's on a Thursday. Shit. That's gonna be a tough one. People have jobs and shit. Obviously, it's a challenging week. Has been happening in California. We worried about what the administration has been doing, so I anticipate the crescendo will continue and see more and more organizing people on the streets. If you have to, I'm sorry, this is John Yang asking a question. I have to ask you, as you may know, there was a terrorist attack along makers in Minnesota today. A targeted attack, according to the governor. Do you have any concern rhetoric as you protest both sides? The rhetoric being incendiary. Okay, the rhetoric is incendiary on one side. The other side's like, leave us the fuck alone. I don't know why you act like it's on both sides. This both-siders isn't going to stop. Well, first, what happened in Minnesota was a huge tragedy. All of the No Kings protests in that state were canceled. Out of respect, there was nothing that occurred. I don't think they were canceled because I've seen them happening.
Yeah, that's fake news.
That's not true.
That's falsity.
This is why I'm cutting this short, because this well-intentioned woman is giving out bad information. First she said they were all peaceful and there was no attacks, and then she said they were canceled in Minnesota. It's not true at all.
But that had nothing to do with the protest. That was a different happenstance.
Well, the assassinations were committed to drive people inside and to make them scared. So I think it was intentionally done on this very day for that reason. So yeah, I think it was done for that reason. But Minnesota came up. You ain't gonna silence us. Anyway, that's the good news. We get some sarcasm.
Some sarcasm? I saw, okay, well, it's good to hear that they're doing something, because I saw a lot of people being sarcastic on weekend, where they were like, great, we're all walking around outside, peaceful protesting. This isn't going to change anything. are we going to do anything next, or are we just going to do this and then say problem solved? You know, there's a lot of people being kind of naysayers on my threads anyways, and they're just like,
that's
because
that's defeatism.
No, what's happening here is you've got radical protesters versus, which we've done an article, like read an article and a study about this. Repeat it again to anybody who hasn't heard this. People who want to have violent protests because they think it's the only way to change anything, right? And they always will sort, oh yeah, look how violent, you know, the French Revolution was and the Red Revolution and blah, blah, blah. You know, the Arab Spring, all of these were violent protests. To be fair, they were violent for the most part on the state side and then later the people's side, right? So it wasn't violent because the people started out being violent. Second of all, they've already done plenty of studies and discovered that a lot of change is created through peaceful protests, because the more people who want to go to your protest, who don't think they're going to get shot when they go to the protest, the more power you have to change things. So, there's people, you know, oh, great, you got 100,000 people going to your thing. Cool, real cool. Yeah, it actually is really cool that you would convince 100,000 people or whatever, 50,000 people to leave the house. Yeah. Even when some of those got violent.
There's people who are agent provocateurs too. So when things go violent, they
prove that. Oh yeah, see.
Protesters. Hey, look, they're violent. We proved it by causing, So as people set fires to car, they blame the peaceful protesters when it just could have been anybody who set a fire to a car. Hey, there's a protest. Let's go cause more problems because we're idiots. And they have nothing to do with the protest. But the protesters get blamed. Yeah. Whatever. Was that? Where was your sarcasm, though? Was it just? Was it just the other people's sarcasm? I don't know.
Next story.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, the next story is basically on the same subject, so I'm just going to transition into the Daily Mirror's talking about Diaper Donnie's taxpayer-funded parade embarrassment was so pitiful it sickened Melania. Yeah, Melania was puking her. President Trump birthday parade has been branded a grotesque birthday party for an aging man, and his wife Melania couldn't stomach. Oh my goodness! Let's get delving into Trump's. This is from the Daily Mirror or themirror.com. Christopher Buckton. I had a Buckton. I don't know what that means. Donald Trump's ridiculous military parade was never about the troops. It wasn't about patriotism, unity, or honoring the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army. Not how many or tanks rolled by. It was about one thing only. Donald J. Trump and his obsessive, delusional need to feel worshipped. Billed as a grand celebration of America's armed forces, this taxpayer-funded farce was really a grotesque birthday party for an aging man who spent his life confusing adoration with leadership. And Melania had a very awkward moment on stage. The tanks, troops, and the blaring anthems all orchestrated not to salute American service, but to feed Trump's insatiable ego as he marked 79 years of being the world's biggest narcissist. This wasn't a show of strength. It was a pitiful attempt to copy the authoritarian pageantry of his role models, Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un, leaders Trump has fawned over while undermining American democracy at every turn. And there's Melania sleeping. Picture of her sleeping. Dictators have parades. Presidents have principles. Trump abandoned the latter years ago. While America burns, literally and politically, Trump played emperor on a hollow throne. Just hours after an elected official was assassinated in her own home, and millions of Americans rallied in the streets in the banner of kings, Trump paraded down Constitution Avenue like some bloated monarch. And where were the throngs of adoring fans he desperately craves? Not in Washington, D.C. Only a few thousand, I would say a few dozen, bothered to show up. The sparse crowd, you watch that parade, empty bleachers, and you can hear the tanks' squeaky tracks as they roll down the tanks. Squeak, 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 squeak. Wow, what a parade. The squeaky parade. Anyway, the sparse crowds must have stung from the man still ranting about his inauguration numbers. Even trophy wife Melania couldn't stomach it. She was caught dozing mid-parade, visibly bored by her husband's circus of self-importance. In the end, the old charade collapsed under the weight of its own absurdity. A $33 million pound, 33, sorry, $33 million pound. I can't talk. A 33 million pound. I don't know what, we don't spend pounds sterling, we spend dollars. I don't know why they said that. But it's a $45 million, not 33 million pounds. This is written by a British guy, obviously. A birthday bash for a wannabe king. A reminder that Trump's hunger for power will always come before the country claims. Of course, England's got a lot of nerve, considering the fact that they have a king. Anyway, that's my sarcasm. Anyway, go ahead with yours. I love it.
Oh, I was going to say, we're using the Daily Mail. Is that where the Daily Mail, of course, professedly the most...
The Mirror. Not the Daily Mail, it was the Mirror.
Daily Mirror.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, not the Daily Mail, not Rupert Murdoch.
Okay.
Rupert Murdoch's paper would publish something like that.
Well, it's good to see. It's good to see a president, get all that he's ever wanted, all the attention he's ever wanted.
Oh yeah, and it still wasn't enough.
From his select
he still
cronies.
feels unloved.
Select cronies.
You're that unloved, and you throw a big parade for yourself, and you still feel unloved. Oh, it's gotta suck to be him.
Okay, our next segue for our next stories is a bad pun. Get your puns out. Woo-hoo! For more protest news. That's right, we're going to talk about some protest news in Europe. Thousands attended a Red Line protest in The Hague against Israel's Gaza war for the second time. This is on Al Jazeera. According to Oxfam, nearly 150,000 people in the Netherlands called for the government to do more against the war in Gaza. Tens of thousands pro-Palestinian demonstrators gathered in the Netherlands to oppose Israel's genocidal war in Gaza and to call on the government to take a stronger stance, as nearly 55,300 Palestinians have now been killed in a more than 20-month-long war. On Sunday, which was yesterday, the 15th of June, a huge crowd of people marched to the streets of The Hague for the second time in 4 weeks. That's right, they did this back in May as well, towards the International Court of Justice. Rights groups who were among the organizers of the rally included Amnesty International and Oxfam said the demonstration aimed to create a symbolic red line that they say the government has failed to set to halt Israel's war on Gaza and its Palestinian population. Demonstrators sang, delivered speeches, and marched past the courthouse, which is hearing a case by South Africa accusing Israel of committing genocide during its war on the besieged enclave. Michael Servais, director of Oxfam Novib, said that more than 150,000 people attended the protest calling for concrete sanctions to stop the genocide in Gaza. Reporting from The Hague, Al Jazeera's Step Basin said that the largest turnout was proof that more people in the Netherlands reject their government's Israel. I think there was also a lot more than just Dutch people there. A lot of immigrant populations live in the Netherlands too. And they were probably also like, yeah, let's stop killing people, huh? Actually, a lot of Syrians live here. It was one of the reasons people hate immigrants. Oh, Syrians, they invented wine. How dare they? By the way, just fun fact. That's where wine was invented. Not France, not Italy, Syria. While there is a much frustration about the lack of action, protesters here say the focus should remain on continuing genocide in Gaza despite Israel's efforts to distract attention. Bison said, adding the protesters also called for Israel to stop its attack on Iran. Prime Minister Dick Schoof said that the unprecedented thousands of people in The Hague raised their voices with concerns, angers, and frustration. The Netherlands remains committed to stopping the violence and ending the humanitarian blockade. We are constantly looking at how we can most be effective with our efforts, both in front of and behind the scenes, to the situation on the ground, Schoof wrote on Twitter. To all those in The Hague, I say, we see you and we hear you. Our goal is ultimately the same, to end the suffering in Gaza as soon as possible. Added. Saleh Isadi, a medical doctor protesting, told Al Jazeera that as a doctor, it's very painful to watch this in Gaza. Pro-Palestinian protests were also taking place in Belgium, Turkey, Brazil, and Greece, all calling for an immediate end to the war in Gaza. As I'm sure you guys have heard, Iran and Israel are shooting missiles at each other. Israel shot first. Just saying. We can hate Iran. We can hate Israel, but we have to at least put that on the table that Israel shot Iran first, and now they're complaining because they got shot back. That's what happens when you shoot people. They might shoot you back, Israel. Anyways, you have a bad pun about that.
Yeah, it's a bad pun. It's a really bad pun. I noticed that when you get shot, what kind of Band-Aid? You get shot on the Gaza Strip. What kind of Band-Aid did you put on your head? Do you put a Gaza Strip on your head, or is it another kind? Anyway, that's a terrible pun. Bad taste.
Wow.
Anyway.
Wow.
I know, right?
That's that's impressive. Hey. I wasn't expecting to that kind of bad. That was really bad. Yeah, 10 stars of bad.
Yeah, but I think
Oh, great.
Right, 10 stars for bad. Hey, bad be bad.
That's in the name. Okay, my next story is more about Gaza, and this time, this is about a march.
No, I can't use the same pun. Too bad.
Yep, sorry. This is a global march, maybe something about marching to Gaza. These are people physically marching to Gaza to try to break this humanitarian aid barter. Oh, not barter. What did they say? Barrier. Blockade. This humanitarian blockade. This is on MG. Or I think, what's the name of the actual website? Mail and Guardian, Africa's Better Future website by Hassan Karata. This week, they joined a South African delegation en route to the Rafah border in Egypt as part of the global march to Gaza, a peaceful international mobilization demanding the end of Israel's siege and the immediate opening of humanitarian corridors. They are not there as observers, they're there to demand life for Gaza. More than 2,000 activists have converged in Egypt in a coordinated show of international solidarity. South Africa is represented by a 55-person delegation comprising civil social leaders and grassroots activists, one of more than 50 national groupings unified in this global effort. Together, they will walk nearly 50 kilometers across the Sinai Desert towards Rafah, Gaza's last closed lifeline. This is no symbolic journey, it's a reckoning. Since October 2023, Israel's unrelenting assault on Gaza has killed more than 54,000 Palestinians for, 100 people that got taken hostage or something? 1,000 people? It's not even, right? There's no even here. It's not one eye for an eye, it's an eye for your entire people. Thousands more remain buried beneath the rubble. Tens of thousands have been maimed, orphaned, or injured. Nearly the entire population of Gaza, 2.2 million people, is being starved. According to the United Nations, less than a third of the required humanitarian aid is even making it through. In early May, an estimated 500 trucks were needed each day to sustain life in Gaza. In recent weeks, the number has plummeted to fewer than 100. Some days, none arrive. They are marching to say, let the aid end, end the siege, and let Gaza live. You're allowed to siege a keep. You're not allowed to siege an entire enclave. Hello? We are not alone in this call. Earlier this week, Israeli naval forces seized the MV Madeleine, a vessel carrying aid, and 12 international activists, including 20-year-old Swedish campaigner Greta Thunberg, intercepting it in international waters, which I think the whole point of international waters is that you're not breaking any laws. You can't do that. And then towing it to Ashdod. The yacht, part of the Freedom Flotilla coalition, was en route to Gaza with medical supplies. Reminder, Gaza is a coastal territory, so they have water access. Baby formula and essential foodstuffs were in there as well. Its capture had been condemned as an act of piracy because, yet again, it was international waters by a human rights group. The sea is closed, so too is the sand, reinforcing the systematic isolation of Gaza from every direction. The global march to Gaza, running from the 13th to 19th of June, which means you guys can still participate if you're, have a free week. Go and walk there through the desert in Egypt. The high-profile action that brings together a broad constellation of global solidarity, activists, health professionals, and scholars, and civilians, united by one shared conviction: the world can no longer look away. This morning, 13th of June, delegations from across the world I guess this was on Friday. So on the 13th of June, on Friday, delegations from the world left Cairo for Al Arish, a city in Egypt's North Sinai region, roughly 344 kilometers from Rafah. From there, they began a 48-kilometer walk to Gaza, a multi-day overland march through the desert. They walked during the cooler hours of early morning and evening, resting overnight in tents that will later be donated as part of an aid package to Gaza. Hey, I used this tent, it works, here you go. At Rafah, they will establish a protest encampment, holding vigils and staging sit-ins over several days to demand the opening crossing. They're expected to return to Cairo on the 19th, which is on Thursday. So over a week they've been, half a week they've been there already. The march's goal is not simply to arrive, it is to hold the space, to create pressure, and to break the silence. Alongside them is the Sumud Convoy, an independent land convoy made up of volunteers from Algeria, Libya, Morocco, Tunisia, and Egypt. Traveling from Tunis across North Africa, the convoy brings humanitarian supplies and a message of solidarity. It is an act of regional mobilization grounded in a single word, mod, or steadfastness. Saif Abu Keshek, chair of the march's international, said the march was born out of people's growing refusal to accept the governmental complicity. People are no longer willing to tolerate the government's silence while a people continue to be annihilated, told organizers. That's where our pressure is going, for the international complicity in the genocide. Remember, after the genocide due to Nazi Germany, a lot of people had this phrase called never again, right? Never again. And that doesn't mean unless it's Jews doing it or Zionists doing it, right? That means no one's allowed to genocide anymore. Every time there's a genocide, people have to stand up and say, stop, never again. We're not going to kill an entire group of people because some other guys decided they don't like them. March carries a particular weight for South Africans who come from a nation known of its brutality of repression and necessity of international solidarity. The government's referral of Israel to International Court of Justice was a bold act of legal principle, and this march is a moral mirror. The people's turn to take a stand. So, they walked with Gaza, not just in a humanitarian crisis, but also as a test of world compass. They walked to silence complicity, they walked to end starvation as a tool of war, and they walked so that the world cannot say, we didn't know it was happening. There you go. There's your article there about that. Oh, I'm getting rated right now. Sorry, give me a sec. We're getting rated. Hello. Thank you for rating Pandas during our global call for non-genocide. And thank you for coming, everyone. I'm Ali, and this is Roger, and we're doing Before Coffee, a father and daughter comprehensive news of planet Earth podcast. We are talking about many topics. We just talked about the protests in North America and the United States, the No Kings protest, and now we're talking about Gaza protests. The Netherlands had one over the weekend, and this is the walk that's happening right now. Probably people are still walking through Egypt's deserts, and also there's a lot of rubbish in Scotland. That was some bonus story. And the Louvre is closed, or maybe it may be open now, but it was closed following a workers' riot, workers' protest, sorry, not a riot. And now we're going to move on to our next segment from Roger with his bad pun segue.
Okay, well, I got a better pun than that last one. Anyway, let's see. Netanyahu's victimhood is dubious, but his cruelty is real. It's real. Get it?
Yeah, it's real.
Is real.
Okay. Yeah.
His cruelty is real.
It's
a pun.
Committed genocide. Hell yeah. Okay, let's roll our next segue.
I need to work on my delivery.
I think this is the first time I've gotten rated during Before Coffee. Being rated, by the way, in case you don't know, Dad, is when somebody sends their viewers on their stream to your stream. Yes, that's what.
Hi, everybody. Don't forget to like, notify, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe. This is merely an example of what we do every day, all right? This is a Monday, too, so.
Oh, yeah, it's Mondays are always the roughest. Okay, I'm going to have to give you a metaphor and simile for your next stories. Or story. I think it's only one story.
Cool. Yep. And then the Wheel of Segways, that's what it's called. And I got about 50 hours of sleep this weekend, so yeah, I'm ready to go. Plus, I've drank, 9 cups of coffee. 9 cups of coffee. And yeah, I'm going to have a fun day. Anyway, we're going to talk about a story we're going to update a story we talked about a couple of weeks ago about, human slavery existing in this world still. And it's about Thailand and Cambodia has a bit of border skirmish. This is from BangkokPost.com. So it's probably going to be from the Thailand point of view. It's definitely from the Prime Minister's. Strident PM declares Thailand will defend its sovereignty. This is from, it just says online report. Online reporters. He tells Cambodia to settle differences through official channels, social media. Well, that makes sense. That's a new thing, right? The new thing is like, social media solves all of our problems.
Yeah.
Right? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I said something on Twitter.
Right?
It's fixed now.
Social media absolutely debased our debate down to childish insults, and it did it like within 5 minutes. By the way, anyway, Thailand is a strong and united country and will not tolerate maltreatment, accusations, and threats to its sovereignty. Prime Minister, oh boy, here's another name I can't pronounce. Patongtarn Shinawatra.
And that's how you know they're Thai. Because that's a normal Thai name.
Shinawatra. That's easy enough to pronounce. Shinawatra. First name, Patongtarn. No, hopefully I don't say that again. Declared on Monday as a territorial dispute with Cambodia dragged on. She also lambasted, that's a new word. So it combines lambasting with boasting. Lambasted. I just invented a word. Write it down.
Oh, freaking Lily here, who just rated us, is actually Thai. So, and they said he did a pretty good job for not being able to speak. Good job.
And I believe Thailand is one of those countries that's never been colonized. She also lambasted Cambodia for sending messages using social media instead of through official channels. The Prime Minister was speaking after meeting with senior security officials at her official residence. Here I go trying to pronounce stuff again. Phitsanulok House in Bangkok on Monday. I can pronounce Bangkok. That's easy. The session followed a meeting with the Thai-Cambodia in Phnom Penh. Thailand is united. We do not tolerate maltreatment, accusations, or threats from any party. Our country also has dignity. Our country also is strong, Miss Patongtarn said. She emphasized her message, stabbing her finger forward at each sentence. Anyway, her strong comments followed reports that Cambodian Senate President Hun Sen had threatened to close all border crossings with Thailand to block the entry of Thai goods unless Bangkok restored normal border opening hours within 24 hours. A reporter asked for her reaction to the possibility of Cambodia launching an information operation against Thailand. That kind of a communication does no good for either information. Sides early agreed to wait for conclusions, Miss Patongtarn said. Regarding its posts, Cambodia must consider the interest of both Thai and Cambodian people. About closing the border right away affects both Thais and Cambodians. We are concerned about trade and supply of fruit and vegetables, the Thai Prime Minister said. Ms. Patongtarn said unprofessional communications from Cambodia had a negative impact on both Thai and Cambodian people. The Prime Minister said that Thailand did not... Yeah, again, this is the Trump syndrome. We get to hear his every freaking thought, right? Yeah. The Prime Minister said Thailand did not close the border with Cambodia, but decided to reschedule border opening hours because long-range weapons were increasingly being deployed near the border. We got a war brewing here. We must reschedule border opening hours because there are people in both countries. Yeah, there are people in both countries. That's a fact.
Imagine if it was like, actually, we can have a war because they're robots, so we can just kill them all.
You can't argue with that logic. If the opening hours were not rescheduled and there was an accident, the damage would be great. That's true. Some of these places, again, if you got a closed border and there's the closest hospitals on the other side of the border, that's a humanitarian crisis. So she's
that's
right.
Pretty bad.
Ms. Patongtarn said she proposed to her Cambodian counterpart that Thai and Cambodian military representatives attend a regional border committee meeting to explain their respective positions. Yeah, there's something besides war. There's something besides violence, and you can actually talk about stuff and say, hey, that's our border. Let's be nice to each other. Or we can just fight forever. I'm sure there's lots of people that want, but other than that, most people just want to get along with other people. The armed forces and the government share the same stand. Well, good for them. That our sovereignty must be protected. We're working out ways to prevent clashes and losses while sovereignty. Sovereignty, boy, we gotta protect that sovereignty. That's straight from Hamlet, the William Shakespeare. Speaking separately, Lieutenant General Boonsin. Oh, here's another. Lieutenant General Boonsin Podklang. Love that name. Commander of the 2nd Army Region said an RBC meeting is expected to take place in June 27th to 28th to discuss troop withdrawals of further reduced tension. And it was a whole lot of crap. At the end, that's it. That's the end of the article. It wasn't as long as I thought it was, although it took me a while to read it.
Well, it's okay because I have some additional information for you that I just looked up so we can actually look at the historical reason why this is even happening. And to go into my metaphor and simile, it's almost like colonization ruined the entire fucking planet. Because here we go. Where does this dispute originate? Back a long time ago in 1907, France decided to draw a map and said, Cambodia's here and Thailand's over there. And then Thailand said, who the fuck are you drawing a border for our countries? So now they've been fighting since then, probably since post-colonization, that is not your land. Actually, it is our land because France told us our land. So that's why these have been fighting. In 2000, they tried to establish a joint border commission to peacefully address these claims, but usual, no progress has been made either way. There are several historical sites on both of these borders. This is why they should just become Cambodia at this point. Just become one country. That will solve the problem, it looks like.
And Cambodia's most, in their most recent history, was the United States dragged Cambodia into the Vietnam War because the Ho Chi Minh Trail went through Cambodia on its border. Right? Well, we expanded the war. And Henry Kissinger, of course, we opened the door for it. Khmer Rouge was openly slaughtered over 1 million people. Anyway.
And this particular instance happened because some Cambodians went to an ancient Hindu temple, Ta Muam Thom, and they were stopped by Thai soldiers. They were going to do a little thing and sing their national anthem and be like, this is our temple, a Cambodian temple. And Thailand was like, nah, you're not coming here. There was some military, not great military diplomacy going on. And so since that clash, the tensions have been going up and down since. Are like, guys, I don't know what to do in this scenario because it's France's fault, obviously. Maybe they should do something.
Right.
Because they drew a
France
freaking line on the map and decided, for how long that was 200 years, 300 years, I don't know. Probably not that long. But long enough that people don't know, right? Yeah. Well, what do you want to say?
We really want France to try to fix something? I'm just saying. Do you really want France to try to fix something? Really?
I don't know how to fix it.
How desperate you gotta be? How desperate you gotta be to think France is gonna fix it? Come on, man. It's like thinking the United States is gonna fix something.
I mean, not to pick on Thai people here, but according to this article, which is a U.S. news article, so not from Cambodia or Thailand. Thailand seems to be the one who, after the International Court of Justice awarded the temple to Cambodia, Thailand is the one who seems to be being a little stubborn about it. Why they want to keep this temple so much part of their Thai, I don't know. Are they getting a lot of money? Did they sell tickets? I have no idea why they're not letting the... It's just a temple, right? This particular temple. Cambodia was awarded it, but they're not letting Cambodia have it.
All about the invisible man in the sky again.
I don't think so.
Gotta be, right? What's a temple? You're worshiping an invisible man, aren't you?
No, Hinduism is not a one god religion. It's a polytheistic. I don't know which god is in this temple per se, but
polytheist, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's polytheistic.
All right.
Pretty sure that's multiple gods. Multiple gods.
Love
like Greek gods. There's multiple gods.
All right, so I guess we're on to your story because I don't have another one.
I think
by the way, Thailand I was correct. Thailand has never been colonized. Absolutely correct. Anyway.
Yeah. So it was Cambodia. So in Cambodia, but they're the ones who own this temple, according to everyone else. I guess the colonial powers said you own the temple. It's yours. This is why, open borders are great. As a globalist myself, I love open borders. And I think that's the only reason anyone even cares, right? Cambodian people want to visit the temple. Technically, they're a temple. But Thailand is like, you have to pass our border. Why? It's just a temple. Let us walk here. Why? Who cares? Right? 500 miles of land border, and we have to make sure every single part of it is under our control. For what reason?
Barbed wire. Just again, humans are failing as a species.
I think the worst thing humans ever invented were lines. We draw them on maps. We follow it for our economy. It just ruined everything, really. Lines.
Standing in line sucks for sure. That's for damn sure. I hate standing in line.
I'm about to have an ad break and I can't snooze in time. No. Okay.
I throw a line in the sand.
Me ranting about lines. Our next segue is associate this story with another thing. Just anything related to Sabrina Carpenter's album is too sexy for the masses, probably. I'm assuming I haven't seen it.
I'm sorry, what did I spend? I was looking at something else.
Associate. You have to associate my story with something. Ever associated with something.
Oh, I haven't had that before. That's
we've added a couple new things to the segue wheel here. This is from Amber Louise Price on Euronews Culture. The pop superstar received a huge backlash after sharing an Instagram cover image of her latest album, Man's Best Friend, with some fans calling it disturbing because she's giving a blowjob.
Wow.
Okay. Welcome to not being a virgin. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm being a hater here.
She's still a virgin.
No, I like this kind of puritanical thing. I'm a sex open, sex positive girly, so. Oh my god! Because here's the picture. Okay, I'll detail the picture for anybody who hasn't seen it. You are a blonde woman, full face of makeup, wearing a black short dress, in your heels. You are on your knees, kind of in a doggy position, is what I would say. Your hand is not actually grabbing a thigh, but very close to a man's thigh. I'm assuming a man. It could be a woman, but it is called Man's Best Friend. And her hair is being held, like, gripped by his hand. For me, this infers a blowjob. And that's why people are freaking out, I guess. But also because Man's Best Friend is also related to dogs, right? Ew, bestiality. People just drawn lines. Depicting the 26-year-old on her hands and knees in a black mid-dress with a faceless suited figure gripping her hair, fans have argued the image perpetuates perpetuates patriarchal values and degrades women by relating them to pets. You know what? Some people are into that. It's called puppy play. It's a kink, okay? Stop kink shaming Sabrina Carpenter. The entire thing is disturbing. Why are we proudly comparing ourselves to dogs? One commenter on Carpenter's Instagram post, because she's into that. She's into it, okay? Let her. Love Sabrina, but this picture, why is it the man is there like that? It's not a very empowering image for women. I think it's a mistake, since most of her fans are women, and as a domestic violence survivor, I find it uncomfortable and rather see her empowered than like that. Well, this is her empowerment. She's empowered at being a dog. Trending on Facebook, Glasgow Women's Aid. I'm just saying there's no line. Yet again, people trying to draw their lines. Put her in a box. There's no... the only person who can draw lines and put herself in a box is herself. Okay? Responding on Facebook, Glasgow Women's Aid, a Scotland-based domestic abuse charity, called the album's artwork regressive, adding, picturing herself on all fours with a man, putting her hair and calling it Man's Best Friend, isn't subversion. It's a throwback to tired tropes that reduce women to pets, props, and possessions and promote an element of violence and control. The heated response also reflected a heightened anger and sensitivity at a time when women's rights are being eroded by governments and threatened by the manosphere's to promote misogyny, toxic cultural influence. This screams trad wife at a time when many of us are fighting for bodily anatomy, so poorly aligned with its political moment that's either intentionally trolling or just blatantly out of touch. Either is not okay right now, one fan said. And don't buy the album. Show her you mean business. Meanwhile, others have countered this discourse with reminders that Carpenter has always owned her sexuality by playing with male fantasies. They do not listen to any of her songs. And outside of the album's wider context, we still don't know its true meaning. If she wants to get her hair pulled and be a dog, I don't know why we care. That's my opinion still. I'm seeing a lot of discourse about Sabrina Carpenter's new album cover. Those of you who may lack critical thinking skills, which is most people on the internet, because it's way easier to be angry instantly at something than to go, wait a minute, let me take a breather, count to 10, and go, oh, right, this doesn't affect my life at all. Its cover is clearly satirical with a deeper meaning, portraying how the public views her, believing she is made for the male gaze, response read on Twitter. Following her mainstream breakthrough last year for Frothy Earworm Espresso, the most streamed track on Spotify in 2024, Carpenter has become one of the pop's biggest superstars. Known for her tongue-in-cheek playfulness and provocative performances, sparked some controversy last year after filming a saucy music video inside a church, for which priest that authorized it was stripped of his duties. Really? What the fuck? Hey, you can touch little boys all you want, but don't you dare have a sexy woman in your church. Did you know sexy women give birth to the followers of your religion? Just a fact. Just a fact. While sex has always been an intrinsic part of Carpenter's image and appeal, mostly often utilized for satire and innuendo. It's not serious! In a new Rolling Stone interview, the singer further defended this, saying, "It's always so funny to me when people complain. They're like, oh, she doesn't sing about this. Those are the songs that you've made popular. Clearly you love sex. You're obsessed with it." Yes, they are. If they hate it, they're obsessed. If they love it, they're obsessed. Still, despite those that bemoan Carpenter's ongoing backlash as overblown, lacking nuance, and missing the point of her hypersexualized and kink-coded brand, contentious discussions continue on the blurred lines between reclamation and regression. Satire only works when it exposes, exaggerates, or critiques the thing it's referencing. And Sabrina's cover recreates sexist imagery without disrupting it, so it reads as compliance, not commentary, one fan said. You haven't even heard the track. Maybe man's best friend is like, I'm not gonna be your dog. You know, maybe she even says, bitch, which is a female dog.
Wow.
My memories are shivering and I don't know what to fucking say. Earlier this month, the singer performed at Barcelona Primavera Festival for the first time and released Man-Child. Definitely sounds like a critique on men. Lead single from her upcoming 7th studio album, set to release on the 29th of August, 2025. So, if you're a man-child, well, she's not going to let you man handle her. I guess. Probably the lyrics. I have no idea what the lyrics are. I just think this is funny. We like some light news, not about the end of the world, because this really is not, right, the end of the world. No one is going to die from this music, hopefully.
Possibly.
If there is a correlation between an album about being a sexy puppy kink and domestic violence, please let me know. Maybe we can publish that paper and she can read it and she can go, oh, sorry guys, it did not mean to cause people to suffer from domestic violence because I have a puppy kink. Anyways. What did that remind you of?
Yeah, Madonna, I want to associate with Madonna. I will associate her with the Trump supporters who are on their knees constantly, blowing their hero. not literally, but in their minds, they can't get off their knees. They're on their knees. They stay on their knees. They have no clue. They just do whatever their hero tells them. Anyway, there's
maybe that's the whole problem. All of the MAGAs have a puppy kink. They just want to be a dog.
Now, as soon as they say you're under control of somebody else, they're admitting they are under control of somebody else. Every single time. Every admission, every accusation is an admission, as we say. Yeah. That can be the case for sure. You can actually, probably 50% of the people commenting on this thing really feel bad about themselves, and that's usually the case, right?
Mm-hmm.
She shouldn't do that because I feel bad about myself.
Oh, yeah.
But again, if she's got strong enough, and I hope it's the case, strong enough of a personality to withstand this, I hope she does. Because nobody's going to let up on her ever for the rest of her life. So, okay.
But I also want to point out that there were people saying this isn't her fault, right? She works with a PR agency and a label company, and they're the ones who are making her do this. So there's a bunch of, theories of why it's happening, but it's just like, guys, stop. Nah. Take the tinfoil hats off. The trad white laser is not going to hit you and get you, okay? Everyone, the whole point of feminism, at least third wave feminism, is supposed to be do whatever the fuck you want, because being a woman doesn't designate what you're allowed to do. So if she wants to be King on her album, just let her be that. That's her right as a woman, as a human being.
Right. And another thing. Why are you making her into this feeble person?
Yeah,
if she's a weak, feeble person, is she even worth following? Right? Is she as a victim? Oh, I'm gonna listen to that new music from the victim of. Yeah, no, she's making her own case for whatever she wants to be. But again, she's going to have to live with this because, as we know, at least 50% of this nation, at least, are just morons. They're just, I'm sorry. George Carlin said this long time ago. In the
60s or something.
80s.
He
said it in the 70s. 80s or 90s. He said, take your average person, right? Your average just schlub, and realize that half of the people in the country are better than that guy. So.
Did you have a mic drop moment for me, by the way?
Oh, no, I didn't. I was looking for one, but they're all... The video I was looking for was only on Facebook.
Okay.
So...
Did you have a topic in mind? Maybe I can find one.
I was just trying to find a good protester. I had a really good protester. If you look at my Facebook page, you'll see her, right? But I couldn't find the video of it on... So... Maybe you can find that video. I don't know.
All right.
But if you look at my Facebook, you'll find it. Yeah.
I have alliteration headlines. Let's go into this day in history.
All right. This day in history is going to be a national day. This day in history. On June 16th, 1874, Arthur Meighen, leader of Canada, was born. So he was the Prime Minister of Canada from 1920 to 21, and again in 1926, just for like less than a year, apparently. 1903, the Ford Motor Company was founded by Henry Ford and his 11 associate investors. Henry Ford. In 1911, International Business Machines, or IBM, a leading American computer manufacturer, was incorporated. Happy birthday to IBM, who about, 70 years ago had a computer that is bigger than my house, that could calculate 3 plus 2. I don't know, it's probably more advanced. 1917, American publisher Katharine Graham was born in New York City. She was owner and publisher of the Washington Post when it was a good newspaper instead of a rag owned by Jeff Bezos now. We're going to protect our fascist oligarchs. We're not going to report the actual news. Anyway, she was the publisher of the Washington Post and Newsweek magazine. So it's her birthday. She was born in 1917, New York City. Happy 108. I don't think Katharine Graham's still around. 1932, the Lausanne Conference held in liquidate Germany's payment operations to the former Allied and associated powers of World War I. I guarantee you Hitler didn't pay any of that shit. 1933, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or the FDIC, was created under authority of the Federal Reserve Act of 1933. When people say, hey, the Federal Reserve killed the country. Well, you know what? When the banks go bankrupt now, you don't lose all your money. Anyway. In the old days, when banks failed and you went to withdraw your money, you said, we don't have it. You have no money. It's not guaranteed. And you had to go, oh, so I'm broke and I'm going to lose everything. And yeah, but we're broke and we lose anything too. And you go, I don't care. You're a banker. You should prepare for this. Anyway, the FDIC, thing that we actually need in this country because of bankers are crooks. It basically goes with the job. They're going to fail. They're eventually going to fail or get sold off or whatever. And we need to protect our deposits because we need to have an economy. We need to have people productive. We can't have a bunch of out-of-work, poor people. But that, again, that's what the fascists want. They want us all fighting each other. 1933, the 100 days period of U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt came to a close with New Deal legislation. A lot of it was reversed by the Supreme Court, but most of it stood up. 1976, South African police fired on a group of sweat. Here's your protest news for today. 49 years to go today. South African police fired on a group of Soweto students marching in protest against state bans to impose Afrikaans language as the medium of instruction in black schools, igniting a massive popular uprising. Oh yeah, we're gonna teach you Afrikaans. I don't even know what that is. Seems like some bastardized form of Belgian, French, or something, right?
Well, Afrikaans?
Yeah.
Afrikaans is
the Belgians
Dutch.
were the ones that... Yeah, okay. So it was Dutch and Belgians that we're trying to force it on. 2012, Liu Yang, Chinese woman in space. Oh, what a coincidence. I think it's Liu, L-I-U. I think it's Liu Yang, became the first Chinese woman in space when she and 2 other crew members were launched aboard the spacecraft Shenzhou 9. That was in 2012. 2017, German politician Helmut Kohl died at the age of 87. He presided over the integration of East Germany into West Germany in 1990 and became the first chancellor of a unified Germany since 1945. Way to go, Helmut. On our featured event, 1963, speaking of women in space, on this day, 1963, Soviet cosmonaut Valentin V. Tereshkova became the first woman to travel in space, having been launched into orbit aboard a spacecraft Vostok 6, which completed 48 orbits in 71 hours, which is amazing for the Russians. Way to go! We ought to celebrate more of this accomplishment every day. I think people doing shit that nobody's ever done before, right? Feature biography. Joyce Carol Oates, American author, was born on this day, June 16th of 1938. She's still around, apparently. Says she's 87, still around, lives in Lockport. She was born in Lockport, New York. Don't know where she lives. Don't visit her. She's kind of old. She's probably chilling. Other birthdays today, Jack Albertson, American actor. If you ever remember the show Chico and the Man, he was the man. In 1912, Enoch Powell, British politician, was born. Enoch Powell, Enoch. 1938, American author Joyce Carol Oates. We did cover that. Roberto Duran, Panamanian boxer. 1951 is his birthday. Roberto Duran, he was a really good boxer, but he's more famous for losing to Sugar Ray Leonard in the No Mas fight, as he did not come out. I think it was for the 12th round or something. He said, no mas, no mas. And Sugar Ray's like, I beat the best fighter in the world. Because Roberto Duran, at that point, was considered the best fighter in the world, pound for pound. A little history lesson. It's also the birthday of Tupac. Tupac Shakur would be 54 today if he wasn't murdered in the 90s. I think it was 95. So he didn't get to live very long. They still found his killer, and all of the people involved in it are now dead, except for one guy. I think the LA cops said, we're going to arrest the one guy who's still alive that even knows it. So, yeah. So, again, the cops probably didn't even give a shit when he... That's just my personal opinion. There's your national... There's your days, things that happened today, but it's only one national day today. It's National Fudge Day. That's it. Only National Fudge.
Oh, man,
so those are
really?
your stories, your spins of the wheel, your mispronunciation, your protest news, everything for June 16th, 2025 on Before Fudge. Oh, fudge.
For fun fudge. There you go, your alliteration for this day in history. It's also an international... Oh, wait, I forgot about this. We didn't cover our international UN observances for the weekend, so let's cover that real quick. On Saturday, it was World Blood Donor Day by the WHO, the World Health Organization. That's right, people need blood, especially these people, civilians are getting killed in a genocidal war. So make sure to donate blood when there are huge catastrophic events happening, because fun fact, blood does go bad. If you donate all the time, all around the year, that's still good because people need blood all the time. But when there's actually a huge disaster, Go and donate blood because they will be running out very quickly. So more people, healthy people, who can donate blood when there's a terrible thing, tragedy. That's great. On Sunday, it was World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. That's right. Don't abuse elders. That's not giving you permission. That's telling you to stop doing it. Older people don't know what the hell's going on. Some of these people were alive when computers didn't exist. They don't know how quickly the world is changing every single day and year. Make sure you give them support and save them from any abuse. Like, I'm going to collect your Social Security and keep you in a closet so that you don't collect it. Keeps out for signs of that elder abuse. And finally, today is International Day of Family Remittances. What is a family remittance? This is a part of a decade-long campaign highlighting the role of achieving development and financing development for migrants to support their livelihoods, strengthen economies, and contribute directly to Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. That's right, there's people who are coming, trying to have a better life, and they need our support so that they can actually get up on their feet and then contribute to society. Everyone's always complaining about migrants and immigrants and boo-hoo. Guess what? A lot of them pay taxes. A lot of them are paying for your taxes. And they don't get any payback. They don't get it, especially illegal immigrants. They can never claim their money back. So all their money is going to taxes and they never get anything back out of it. So stop complaining about immigrants taking stuff when they're probably giving more stuff than they're taking. There's all our things. Yes, this has been Mucking Fonday. Hope to see you guys tomorrow for Good Tuesday News Day. We're going to cover all the good and positive news that we can find going on in the world. I know Roger's already gotten a couple of stories for both Wacky Wednesday and Good Tuesday. So make sure you subscribe to the Ali and Raj channel. Turn on those notifications so you know when we go live and post a video. Let's go to our inspiring young person's mic drop moment. I believe this is probably in DC.
All the propaganda that was put out on North Korea.
No, I don't think there was much of a protest in DC.
And all the
there
rockets
was a few.
that they
Might
displayed
be.
and the nuclear weapons. And the West took that as an insult and kind of a threat. Well, I see absolutely no difference in what's happening in DC right now. It's an absolute waste of tax dollars in any kind of way that you can put it. It's a threat. It's a threat to the American people that says if you step out of line, we will destroy you. We will take everything you love away. And I'm not going to stand for that. This is America, and you are not.
Actually, she is going to stand for it and block the block.
I want you to know that.
She should run for Congress. Why is she in office?
If you're not angry, you're not listening. You need to be aware. It is your civic duty to care about what's going on. I don't care if you're Democratic or
disobedience,
Republican.
baby.
You have a constitution that says freedom of speech. You have a constitution that says freedom of the press. You have a living document that lives and breathes for the people. And that man is using it in corrupt, demonic ways. And he wants to talk about how the LGBTQ, how black communities, how POCs, how immigrants are the devil.
Yeah.
That's only one devil I can see, and he sits in the White House. You should be angry.
Antichrist one, some people are saying.
You should be out here with us. They don't care about you. These people, and you should show them, all of these people out here. These are the people. This is their country. This Capitol building, people are supposed to come here and represent us.
Could be
and
Austin.
They won't. So I will represent
They represent
me.
the corporations. Those are the real threats to democracy.
I'm all for them putting those patches on their seats so they know who owns them, right? Like race car drivers. They got their fire suits and they're all full of patches for all their sponsors. They do the same thing for this. Just give them a race car driver suit.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Record.